Hi there, are you tired of your old sauce being barbecue sauce? Well, boy, do we have the product for you. As we like to call it, the mathematical sauce. We have different kinds of flavoring.
Let's talk about the average rate of change. And this is going to be from an older video, and you just write down these 3 different formulas you're going to see on the screen, and then the 2 steps. And then we'll try some examples below. I want you guys to follow along and do question number 13, and then after that I want you to just do 2 of the problems.
The average rate of change. The average rate of change of a function y equals f of x between 2 points, x is equal to a and x is equal to b, where they're not the same, is f of b minus f of a over b minus a. Another way of saying it is if you have this function and you pick 2 order pairs on there, you basically find the slope. You've done this all the time with linear equations, but you haven't really done that with something else. For example, the basic function of this one is it's a quadratic. So if you just pick 2 points, let's just say I want to find the average rate of change between the 2 blue points. You're like, Mr. Ng, that's a parabola. Well, all you do is in those same 2 points, you're just going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2, and then put it in. So in class today, we're just going to, here are the steps. We're going to evaluate them separately, and then we're going to use the average rate of change formula. The average rate of change formula is just your slope formula. Alright, and this problem says find the average rate of change of f of x over the interval 1 to 3, and the function f is x squared plus 3x minus 2. Alright, hopefully you notice that this problem is slightly different. Let me give us a visual of what we're doing. If you made a quick sketch, this is a quadratic, so it's going to be a parabola. A value is positive, so it's opening up, and you have a y-intercept of -2. So your graph might look something like this. In this problem, though, your interval is between 1 and 3. On the x-axis, if you look at 1 and you look at 3, the question is, if I weigh it higher than that, what does the graph look like between 1 and 3? What's the slope? Basically what they're asking for at 1, what's the slope between this point and 1, 2, 3, and something like this? What's the slope of this red 2 points? Okay, so that's what's happening. So, what does that mean for us? You have x values. You basically have 2 sets of order pairs, and in this first order pair, you know the x value is 1. And you know on the second coordinate, your x value is 3. We basically need to figure out what are the y coordinates here, and then we just need to find the slope between those 2 points. So the first thing we're going to do is evaluate separately. Say that, class. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take my function and I'm going to take one of my coordinates there's my input of 1. Again, you can always do this with your calculator. So every x value we're putting in 1. Class 1 squared is 3 times 1 is, and I have the -2. 1 plus 3 is, and 4 minus 2 is 2. So f of 1 equals 2. My output is 2. The order pair is 1, 2. This is my first order pair. Now in the other formula that you guys saw to make it more complicated, another way of writing the order pair is x1 f of x of 1. You're just basically putting the 1 into your function, and you get an output. Okay, so we've done the first order pair. Let's go ahead and do the second order pair. So I'm going to have the same function, and I'm putting the blanks there so you have enough space to fill it in with our input. My input's going to be a 3. Every x value put in 3. So now I have f of 3 equals 3 squared plus 3 times 3 minus 2. Class, what's 3 squared? 3 times 3? 9 plus 9 minus 2. F of 3 equals 16. 16 is the output of our second point. So what we did is we evaluated separately, and next, now I just need to find the average rate of change. Class, what's another word for average rate of change? Basically just finding your slope. The fancy words here is you're finding a secant. Partner A, tell partner B, what's the formula for slope or average rate of change? Elvis, tell us a formula for slope or average rate of change. I'm going to highlight the minus sign. My y2 value is 16 minus 2 over 3 minus 1. And now I have 16 minus 2, which is 14 over 2, and 14 divided by 2 is 7. The average rate of change is 7. So to review, in this problem they give us an interval notation. We evaluate them separately, and then you find your average rate of change. F of x on the interval between 3 to 4. Okay, what does this mean? If you made a sketch of the graph, I just make a really quick sketch. I know that this is quadratic. It's opening up. I know that its y-intercept is 0. So it might look something like this. And really what's happening is we're looking at on the x-axis between 3 and 4. So let's just say this is 3 and this is 4. Basically what we're doing is we're trying to find the slope between these 2 points. The hard part is we only have the x values and we don't have the y values to eventually use the average rate of change, which is basically slope. So there's multiple ways of doing this problem, but I'm going to evaluate separately. So that's my first step, evaluate separately. What does that mean? I'm going to take my function and I'm going to put in 3 into my x value. No! Someone's calling. Okay, so we're going to take now 3 and put it in. And basically what we're doing here is this. Forgot this part. Is basically I need 2 ordered pairs. I have 3 comma something and 4 comma something. And what I'm trying to do here is I found out the 3 and I'm trying to figure out the y coordinate. Okay? So if I put in a 3, 3 squared is negative 2 times 3 is 9 minus 6 is 3. So I have f of 3 equals 3. Remember, this is an ordered pair, 3 comma 3. Okay, now I'm going to do the second order pair, so I'm going to evaluate the second one. Same thing, I'm going to do f of into our function. Let's use orange. Now I have a 4. You can always use your calculator to verify. 4 squared is negative 2 times 4 is 16 minus 8 is, so f of 4 equals 8. So I did all of that work so I can get this order pairs. Now I can find the average rate of change. Another word for average rate of change, class, is partner A tell partner B what's the equation for slope. Raymond, what's our equation for slope?
Y equals y squared minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
So remember, you can label these. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have the 8 minus 3 over x2, which is 4 minus 3. And then our slope, or fancy word they also call it secant, 8 minus 3 is, and then 4 minus 1 is 1. So I have a slope of 5. The average rate of change is 5 is my answer. So to review, you don't have to find the average rate of change. I'm looking in between 2 points. They've given me an interval, and I need to evaluate them separately to get your y values. Remember, a fancy way of actually writing this is they call that f of x of 1. That basically just is a fancy way of just saying is the y value after you put in your x value. Same thing over here, that'd be called f of x of 2. And then once you get your 2 ordered pairs, then you can just find the average rate of change just using slope formula, and we got 5 as our answer.
Alright, for question number 15 here, I just have the solution. So you're going to do the same thing, evaluate it separately, and use the average rate of change. You're going to separate the, let's try this. I already used that one. Let's use orange. We're first going to evaluate it at -5. And that's why I put it here at every x value into the function. And then you get an answer of 91. And then the second part of the interval, you're going to put it into the function as well. And you evaluate it and you get 61. So then you basically you put in -5 into the blue, and you got an output of 91. So your order pair there is -5, 91, which is my blue order pair up here. And then if you put in 5 for the green, your output is 61, and I put it over here in my second order pair. Trick or hint is label. Label means to have these things up here at the top. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So when we use the average rate of change, you're going to substitute in there, highlight your negative sign, and you get -3. I'm going to show you the solutions for the rest of these. Number 16, split them up. I put in -2 for the green, blue 2, you got f of 2 equals 21, so that's my order pair, and then green -2 is 17. I decided to use the other formula just to show you guys. It's pretty much the same thing if you're doing the function of f of b, so that would be the blue. So f of b here was 21. Let me show you what I did. This is f of b, that's the output, so that would be 21. I'm writing 21 right there. When I put an a into the function, I got 17, and that's why I have 17. And then your b value was 2, and then your a value from up here is -2. Simplify that and you get 1. 17 is the same exact thing. Separate your interval. Remember, the interval that I'm talking about right here is not an order pair. It's saying start of the graph at -3 and go to 3. Put in -3 into the function. There's my work in blue. I got an answer of 7. Do a second mini problem. Put in 3 into the function. This one over here. Whoops, that's too dark. And you get an answer of 7. You get these order pairs up here at the top. Write down your formula, substitute them in, and you'll get a slope of 0. And number 18, separate them. I have -4 for the red below, put into the function. You'll see my substitutions. Every x value is -4. And then for the green, you're putting in every x value is 4. Remember, don't forget to use PEMDAS, which is parentheses first. You're not multiplying. Right here is a common mistake. You're not multiplying first. You're doing exponents. So do not do -2 times 4. You'll get an answer of 7. Make sure to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Always write down your formula, highlight your subtraction sign, and then this problem you get a slope of 8. All right, let's go over question number 19 here. And I'm going to take that interval here, and that's -3 here is going to become my first order pair. So -3, x1, y1, it's an order pair. And then I'm going to look over here on my table of values here to the right. The left column is your x values, your right side is your y or f of x, they're the same. And I need to find a y value. And the y value there is, in this blue box, 0. -3, comma 0 is my order pair. So let's write that down. And then I'm going to take my second part of the interval and make a second order pair. So you're not technically evaluating, but you're kind of separating them. 3. And this is my second order pair. That's why we call it x2, y2. So go ahead and locate on the table of values one that has a 3 there, and it's 12. 3, comma 12. Let's write that down. And so now we're going to do the second part of the average rate of change formula. Always, always, always write down your formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What's hard for students is the formula has a minus sign.
So let's go ahead and substitute these in. x1 is negative 3. So every time I see x1, I'm going to write negative 3. y1 is 0. So in my formula, every time I see y1, I'm going to write 0 right here. And then every time I see x2, I'm going to write 3. So there's x2, I'm going to write 3. Y2 is 12. So every time I see y2, I'm going to write 12. Now everything else for the formula here, let's go ahead and write it out. M equals my fraction line. Remember, every time we did substitution here, good practice is putting in parentheses. And let's go ahead and highlight that pesky little negative sign. This is a common mistake for students, that's why I'm highlighting in red so you can kind of visually see it. And now we have m equals 12 minus 0 is 12, and the opposite of negative 3, or you can think of it as negative 1 times negative 3, which becomes positive 3, so 3 plus 3 is 6, so m equals 2. Our slope, or average rate of change, equals 2. Let's go on to question number 20 here. And same thing, you're going to take the interval and make it 2 order pairs. So the blue one, the negative 4, is your x1 value, and the red value is your 4, and then you see them should have been blue. On the table of values, negative 4, my f of x value, or my y value, is negative 27. That's how I got negative 27. And for the red one, 4, comma, negative 27. Always, always, always write down your average rate of change formula. A good tip here is to always label your order pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2 there in yellow. Substitute it in. And you be careful there, you'll get 0 divided by 8. Put in your calculator, it is 0. Feel free to put those into your calculators. Negative 27, and the opposite of negative 27 is positive 27, so essentially 0. In that case, canceling there is 0. And that one becomes positive 4. So 4 plus 4 gives you 8. 0 divided by 8 is 0, not undefined. And then a little more quickly, number 21, left side of the interval, negative 2 in black here, becomes the x1 of my order pair. And you look on your chart, that's negative 3. And then the right side of the interval is 2 in blue. Look on the chart, you get 9, so that's my 2 order pairs. Always write down the formula, substitute it in, simplify, and you'll get a slope of 3. Question number 22, same thing, separate them, get your 2 order pairs. Look at your table of values for your 2 values. In black, that'll be negative 39. Blue would be 1, 5, 1. Make sure you label your order pairs, x1, y1, x2, y2. Write down your formula, substitute in there, and simplify. Hopefully the change of colors is helpful, and you should do that in your work too if that helps you. You get a slope of 4. Question number 23. Separate your 2 intervals to get your x values. Negative 3, look on your chart, you get 27, and the blue 3, 27. And you should be using some math sense here if you actually graph these order pairs. Left 3 up 27, right 3 up 27. You recognize it's a horizontal line. That line has no slope. It's not a hill. And so that should be our answer. Slope is 0. So no slope means 0. Write down your formula, highlight your subtraction sign, substitute it in there, and simplify, and you get a slope of 0. M equals 0. Box your answers. And question number 24, same thing. Separate them. Black, green, negative 2, and 2. Look those on your table of values. Negative 2, 12, and 2, negative 4. Don't forget to label your order pairs right there. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. It's a common mistake for students. Always write down the formula so you don't mix them up. A lot of students try to skip steps in their head, but do it on paper. Highlight your subtraction sign, substitute, and you'll get an answer of -4.
Mr. Ing's class, we will greatly succeed. Intelligence we will breed and never ever cheat. And don't forget to show your work. Because when you get that 4.0, you'll have a huge smirk.